enter in my room, no trace left here of you. Cold call another person or two, seems like I'm the only one home. Aligned with the sun, shadows on everyone, no reason to run, hide out inside. Just stay at home, so lost and alone. Be here, unknown, don't tell a soul. Bad taste, can't seem to get it out. Blank space where you shut my mouth. Filled yours with love to spit it out. I thought we wanted the same thing. Trust me, it's alright. Goodbye, now let me try to sleep. But don't care to say goodnight. It would be a lie, another fleeting dream. Trust me, it's alright. Goodbye, you never meant anything. You mean nothing to me. Just stay at home, so lost and alone. Be here, unknown, don't tell a soul. Been so down since you left, can't get out of this hole. Stay safe at home, so lost and alone.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Post-Mortem show for Forest 1, City 2. Massive performance. Good morning to you, Kevin. Massive performance, that feels like. Massive results, rather. Yeah, we're going to go into it, of course, as we always do. We'll chat about the match. What did we like? What perhaps didn't we like? And that sort of thing. But just like to get things started, before I just say hello to you guys and just like generally, I just want to set the tone for this stream. I feel like this was a massive result. And I often don't feel like that at times, but this game did really feel like it was pretty significant and pretty important to get the win today, certainly in the manner in which it happened as well. So this is going to be a pretty upbeat stream, in all honesty. I'm pretty sure that this is a very, very big result and a very big 3 points that we have just earned today. So Nobbins is a happy Nobbins, because I think that's very important. Of course, could we have played better? Of course we could have done, and we'll get into that, obviously. But at the end of the day, as Jack's just said there, it is a hard ground to go to. Yes, they are towards the back end of the back end of the table. They are now technically in a relegation battle. But let's be real. Thank you so much, Kazoo, for renewing your membership, matey. But let's be real for a second. I fixed this as well, by the way, Jack. I'll sort you out in a second. Oh, it says welcome. I thought you already were an ultra. Thank you so much, Kazoo. Either way, big up to you, matey. Your random footballer is Marco Royce. So Jack will be a big fan of that. So this seems... Yes, so what was I saying? I'm very happy, essentially, about the result. That's what I was saying. Yes, they are towards the back end of the table. They are in the fighting a relegation battle, but that has been the story of their average season. That's not been the story of Sean Dyche's Forest. So when people are saying, oh, how are we not beating this side of a 17th in the table or whatever, at the end of the day, that was Nuno's Forest and that was Ange's Forest. Sean Dyche's Forest has been a lot better since. I haven't watched a Fulham game. You guys said it wasn't especially good. But generally speaking, they have been a lot better since Dyche came in. So there we go. Love that from you, Kazoo. Look at this. I was on gifted, but it expired. I like the members only stuff, so it's worthwhile. Look at that. What a solid advertisement for the channel. Love that from you, Kazoo. So yeah, this is going to be an upbeat, positive vibes stream, in all honesty. I'm not going to be negative at all, really, of course. We'll discuss. There were players who could have performed a bit better. Certainly in the first half. I didn't have many complaints in the second half. I felt like certainly our attacking players got much better as the game went on. And certainly after the changes that Pep made and then the personnel changes also, I think that was very important that we did that and we adapted. And yeah, so really, really good time had by all. Absolutely. So this is going to be positive vibes. If you can't handle that, yeah, then leave. But hopefully, you know, you're happy with me being positive. So we'll find out though. We can do player ratings if you guys want us to. Absolutely, we can. Absolutely, we can. Make sure to leave a like on the video as you are coming in. It is free. And just whilst I remember, just because Jack got robbed of his reward. So Jack did a massive super chat, £20 I think it was earlier, which is absolutely insane. So big up to you, Jack. And this effect should have happened, but it didn't because I'm a bottle job. So here we go again. Yes. There we go. Look at that. And this was supposed to happen. And now, my printer prints it. Did you see that, guys? Yeah? It took a photo of me and it has printed it from the Hall-in printer. That only happens in very specific events, such as a big super chat. So thank you so much, Jack, for your support. You lovely, lovely person. Okay, cool. Yes. So how are we all doing? First of all, hopefully good. Pepsan releases Indigo. Aren't we all relieved? Macaros get in. Yes, absolutely. A win surprised me. I thought a draw would be the best we could get here because of how Nottingham plays. A good win to Sachin. We got a Leon fan here. I'm just a French football fan watching every City match due to Cherki. Yes. If you haven't watched my analysis video, go watch. We believed in Cherki from day one out here. Yeah, we believe in Cherki. It's a shame United won last night. Yes, indeed, Lee. What a shame. Yeah, we can do player ratings. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a positive. I mean, I was happy anyway because it's the Christmas period, but there we go. Big up to you, Hydra. We got Kazoo. We got Sub. We got Naveen. We got Starshine. We got Cyber. We got Martin. Stephen. Lex. I'm doing Bless a relief for won the game. Send them another 500 million. Yeah. Cherki is quite good at the football. Absolutely, he is. Absolutely, he is. What position are City in now? Well, Arsenal are playing right now, aren't they? So technically, we are ahead on goal difference, but this is a live table. This is a live table. So when, unfortunately, Arsenal inevitably beat Brighton, stranger things have happened. Yeah, mind the gap, Arsenal. Mind that goal difference gap, you little heathens. You little Satanists, yeah? Hold that. Our attack. Look at our attack, man. Do you guys remember? It didn't happen on this channel. You know, happened to some people in the comments section, but we kept pushing back against this. Do you guys remember when people were like, oh guys, we're gonna have problems this season in attack? 43 goals, Bop. 43. Look at that. Look at that. 12 more than second place. Okay, they have a game to play right now. Look at that. 12 more than second place. The attack is purring, ladies and gentlemen. The defence could be doing a little bit better. Of course they could. We have conceded 7 more than Arsenal and only 1 less than... Well, same as Chelsea, sorry, and only 1 less than Villa. So that could obviously improve. And hey, if we keep saying this, if we don't win the title this season, it's not going to be because of the a failure to score goals, is it? It's going to be because of relative defensive weakness compared to Arsenal. Even though I don't accept there is an ultimate defensive weakness, I think there's a structural problem, but that's nothing new. Yeah, so here's the thing. Let's have a chat about the game, shall we? So, first half happened, and lots of people are saying this, yes, and you guys know my thoughts on this as well, I do agree. It is very unfortunate that Doku is injured. And it's also unfortunate that Marmoush is at AFCON. So that means that by extension, someone has to be sacrificed. And this always seems to be the way with Foden, because he is so good and because he is so versatile. He is always the first one to be sacrificed to help accommodate someone else, to help fill a gap. We won, Jacob. We bloody won, yeah, City. He's always going to be sacrificed to do that. So that happened against Palace, and it happened against West Ham, and it's happened, obviously, today against Forest as well. So that's not ideal. That's the starting points to know that the squad isn't in an ideal situation. Of course, like because of AFCON and because of injuries. If we can weather this storm, and I will get into the game more specifically in a second, but if we can weather this storm until either or both of these things happen, Doku comes back, and/or City sign Semenyo, then we're going to be spot on, and it's not going to be a problem. So we do, unfortunately, have a couple of tricky games still to go, I assume, without either Doku or even Semenyo, if indeed we were able to do that. I don't think that we are... So, Nerd saying we need Doku back. I don't think Doku's going to be back for Sunderland, unfortunately. Not with the original timeline, which was like 3 weeks anyway. We won 2-1, Jacob. And then we played Chelsea at home on the 4th of Jan. Now, maybe he could be available for the 4th of Jan game. Seems probably a bit more likely he'd be there for the Brighton game. If we can get over, and that would be 10 wins in a row, actually, which is a lot, of course. If we can beat Sunderland away, big if, and if we can beat Chelsea at home, big if, and then Doku comes back into the side, and maybe Semenyo is signed also, then we can move Foden back to his better position, and we can play even better football. And I think that's what we saw. I do want to do it chronologically, but first of all, I do want to reiterate this. Thank you so much, Reddy. Welcome to the Ultras Club. You've taken the plunge. I love that from you. You're long supporter of the channel, long viewer of the channel, now a supporter of the channel. Love that from you. Your random footballer is William Gallas. Look at that. That. I think I can hear my cat trying to get in. Hello, Evie. Do you want to come in? Yeah, but do you want to say hello? Yes, that's right. Let's say hello to the lovely audience. Wee! Yes, baby. Oh, look at my little girl. Look at you. Oh. Well, isn't she pretty? Oh, you're beautiful. Yes, you are. You're my little baby. Look at her. What you do? Oh, I love her so much. Look at her. There you go. Oh, sweetie. She was scratching at the door. She wanted to get in. She wanted to say hello. She wanted to say hello. Yes. So long as we can survive until then, surviving is perhaps not the correct word. Put the cat on the mic. Okay, I got it. Oh, don't take your claws in, little girl. Come on. Yeah. You have anything to say? What would Evie say? What would her take be? She's very well behaved, isn't she? I think that the key issue at City is this diamond press. Is perhaps not optimal. Oh. What's I saying? Sorry, I keep getting distracted. I'm in a giddy mood. It's Christmas time. Like, yeah, I can be chilling giddy, can't I? If we can survive, win 10 in a row, by the time those players come back, we're going to have an even better time. Of course we are. We're going to have an even better time. So that's good to see. So yeah, right now, unfortunately, Foden has to be sacrificed. But we saw that in the second half, didn't we? That when Foden's played more so central, and he was still being played centrally earlier on, but it's this false central area of the pitch rather than being out and out centrally. And I do think there is a difference there. Well, I think we saw it, in fairness, like the second half. There's no, in my opinion, City looked best when Savio came on. Now, I don't think that's because of Savio directly. I do think it's because of Savio indirectly. Because Savio goes off to the right, Cherki goes off to the left, Foden plays centrally, and I felt that the team generally, you could also perhaps argue it's just because of game state, because City are chasing the win, they want to win the game, blah, blah, blah. Maybe that's also it as well. But certainly based on, and I don't know what minute that was, 73rd, so like the final 15 minutes. Maybe that's just because game state and City going more so for the goal. But I felt that we felt more slick and assured when that move happened. So that was a thing, and it's we'll get onto individuals obviously in more details. I'm not having a go at Reinders here. I'm not saying, oh, Reinders came off and we were so much better. I'm not saying that much. It's not like it was a ridiculous leap, but I did feel it was a noticeable leap, and that does stem from the fact that Foden is having to play there to help accommodate other players, because you can't play Reinders where Foden played today because Reinders isn't as versatile as Foden. Of course, that detriments Foden's game, but he's still able to contribute, but it's not what we know he can be. I don't think it's a coincidence that. And I don't think Foden's played bad, by the way, the past few games. I actually think he's played quite well to great in some of these games, but there's no doubt that we've seen relative to the games that preceded it, and I don't actually know what games they would have been. Let me get this correct. Just so I don't do anything. Since the change, basically, which was after the Sunderland game in the league anyway. Yeah, so the games before then, great game against Sunderland, great game against Fulham, great game against Leeds, to now, Palace, West Ham, Forest performances. They're still good, but that's when the change happened. So that's important to note. I think we can get better, though, going forwards, based on players coming back, of course, and that's the thing. So that was the change that I think probably ultimately helped win the game. But let's take it back chronologically, because I'm getting a bit too ahead of myself here. Evie came into the room and then I got too excited and giddy. So let's take it one step at a time. So the initial setup was actually not what I thought it was going to be. We opted for a back two to get things started with just Diaz and Gvardiol at the back. And we had double width from Nunes and O'Reilly. So back to the double overlapping fullback shape. The 2-3-5. So you had Cherki and Foden technically as I don't know what you want to say, like the left forward and the right forward, or the left attacking midfielder, right attacking midfielder, whatever you want to call them. That was the general vibe of the shape they're in, and which surprised me, because I thought Cherki was maybe going to play outright right wing again, like he did against West Ham. Didn't happen. But he was still able to play really well. And the key problem, because lots of people said we played really bad in that first half. I don't think I agree. But it could have been better. Absolutely it could, and we should have done better in some moments. I think the main problem was not necessarily anything structural or to do with the change of shape or necessarily to do with specific personnel. I think it was just lots of players, it was one of two things primarily. They were either making really rushed decisions, which made no sense, because that's the exact opposite of what we should have been doing. I don't know how many times we need to see this error for us to realise that we need to slow down and be patient. In fact, I think, was it Louise who said, yeah, we need to be a lot more patient, and I agreed with that, definitely. It happened against Palace first half. It happened against Fulham second half. It's happened a couple of times this season. It happened today also. We need to calm things down, because we work best when we are in total control of the game. We're as close to total control as you possibly can be. So the decisions were being rushed. And it didn't help as well that just the general passing was bad. And that's everywhere as well. Foden gave it away a couple of times in those first 10 minutes. Cherki, he was man of the match, of course, but even he was guilty of a fair few occasions where just gave away the ball. There's a pretty simple slip through to Haaland and just isn't able to get it right. Plays it too close to the defender. Gvardiol kept giving it away. We're no longer top. Boo. What a shame. I'm guessing Arsenal scored then. Gvardiol kept giving it away as well. That's what I kept noticing. Nico, also, under no pressure, just plays it out. It felt like, oh gosh, here we go. This is going to be one of those games. It's a post-Christmas situation. City are looking a bit rusty. They're not looking sharp. Forest are a very tough ground to go to as well, because it's Sean Dyche's Forest. This is just going to be one of those games where we've got to almost sort of take the points. And that was maybe what was going in at halftime. There were still some good moments in that first half, though. There were still some good moments. There was that time where Cherki slipped in Haaland, and it was a really good block by the Forest player. There was a moment where Foden slipped in Reinders in the box. Reinders, the touch wasn't quite there. And then there was a really nice interaction where Foden went to do a fake shot, played into Cherki, and then Cherki drives, and he could either take a shot or slip in Haaland. He eventually does neither, and we ultimately give the ball away, which is a shame. So there was a lot to not be that happy about the first half, but at the same time, I didn't feel like it was the end of the world. I didn't feel like it was the end of the world. So that's fine. That's all good. And I felt that, look, if we play like that second half, but just slow things down a little bit, I think we'll be fine. The first half, the first 10, 15 minutes were absolutely insane. weren't they? We scored a goal. Beautiful by Cherki. Great run by Reinders as well. Great run by Reinders. He was making a fair few of those runs in that first half. We weren't quite able to find him. He was found this time, and it was really, really lovely. So that was fantastic. We also changed it beforehand, so we went back to a back three at the start of the second half. You still had O'Reilly pushing up to give, because O'Reilly has to push up to give Foden some central access. But this time Núñez was staying back, and it wasn't Cherki outright at right wing. He was being allowed to rotate with Bernardo. So more akin to what we saw against the Crystal Palace, I guess, in terms of that setup, where you had the back three and then still O'Reilly left wing, but then Cherki sometimes right wing, but sometimes Bernardo right wing. So Cherki still getting access to the centre, rather, still being given some degree of central freedom to roam, and that's ultimately where he actually assisted the ball, wasn't it? It was actually left central midfield that he ultimately did it, left to centre certainly. So yeah, really good goal. City are in the game, lovely stuff. Great finish by Reinders, and unfortunately we didn't really. I hoped that we were going to take that as like a lesson and chill out a little bit and start to make like correct decisions thereafter. But even outside the goal, that's not really what ended up happening. There was like one pass in particular where like Nico has just got Núñez so easy. There's no pressure on Nico. Play the sideways ball, and it just goes out of play. For their goal, this is another great example. I'm sorry if I keep drumming this in, but I feel like I have to do it because it's still not really, well, certainly not getting, not that City watch this channel, but you know what I mean. It's certainly not getting into our players, and it's still not getting into some of our fans as well. Some of our fans still want us to play with more urgency, / they want us to go more direct, quicker, faster. But, and that's not necessarily what happened for their goal, but it's one of the consequences of it was because their goal started from their box. It started from us having possession on the edge of their box. And we rushed the action, or rather, or just like slipped, or whatever Reinders did. He should just take the shot. I don't really know what he does. It's almost like he overcomplicates it. And then they're in. Because unfortunately, we've committed lots of bodies forwards. So our midfield, which should have been where the goal was scored from, which should have been one of Bernardo or Reinders, well, Reinders was the one who gave away the ball on the edge of the box, and Bernardo was also pushed up really high. So the midfield doesn't exist, unfortunately, on a counter-attack. And this is still this is, of course, a rest defence problem. It's going to be a problem when you commit any number of bodies forward. I would argue that the best way to do that is to force them into their own box, and the way you do that is just by having measured possession on the edge of the box rather than trying to rush everything. So I think it's still a tenable thing to say. But regardless, it was a good goal from them. Lots of people having a go at Diaz. I'll watch it again. Instinctively, I felt like that was very harsh because people were like saying, oh, Diaz has got to engage. But the problem is that Diaz had like a 2v1. So if Diaz goes to engage, okay, fine. But now he's just left his man free so he can just slip the ball in. And now we're saying, oh, why did Reinders go to engage? Why did Diaz go to engage? So I don't think that Diaz was in a, again, I'll watch it again. But I don't think that can really be put at Diaz's fault, at the foot of Diaz's door. I think that was just because we got hit on the counter-attack and we didn't have enough bodies back. And what Forest did was what Real Madrid kept doing to us as well. They kept overloading our left side. So it meant that we were shafted, unfortunately. Because if 2/3 of our... I mean, this was from a counter-attacking... Well, this was from when we were in a settled possession shape. Sorry, settled out of possession shape. But I guess it also works for this as well. If 2/3 of your midfield against Real Madrid are engaged in the forward press, then what do you think happens when that forward press is bypassed? Oh no, only 1/3 of my midfield is now back defending. And it wasn't exactly the case today for the goal because it wasn't in our settled out of possession shape, but it's a similar principle, I think, that we had literally... Reinders was... I'm not trying to blame Reinders for the goal, but it is a fact that Reinders did give away the ball, which then led to the goal. So it means that when he loses the ball, when Forest come at us quickly, a midfielder who could have been there to potentially block off that passing lane and help out with the overload. His starting point was on the edge of the opponent's box. It makes it very tricky, therefore, to get back into a good position. And it's the same with Bernardo Silva. He would have been, I can't remember where he was exactly at that point. He probably would have been out at right wing. So it's very hard for him to get back as well, back to like left central midfield and right central midfield. So it's a tricky situation. And I'll rewatch the goal just to see. But I felt, let me know if you guys disagree, because in fact, I can go watch the goal get back if you'd like. I felt that Diaz was in a pretty impossible situation. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you think needs to happen. There was another goal that we conceded this season, and it was another one. I can't remember what goal it was. I don't know. Like, basically, people are having a go at Diaz again. I didn't really agree, because where was he? What was he supposed to do? People are like, oh, he needs to go engage. But if he jumps up, then it's like a 3v2. So he can't really do that. So you do have to sort of back off a little bit and try to play the probability game rather than just charging and making it even easier for your opponent. What do you guys reckon, though? You're most vulnerable when you score. That is a classic saying. Yeah, you're not wrong. Ryan's got caught by someone's foot after dribbling. I think that's what's happened. Is it? Oh, okay. I thought that he just miscontrolled it. Let me have a look, because I actually remembered to record the game on my computer today rather than just the Sky, so I can have a look immediately without even having to rewind. What's the date? It's the 27th. Let's have a little look. I will have to mute this, so this is going to be copyrighted audio for a second. No one listen yet. Everyone close your ears. There we go. Right. Let's see. So, when did they score? They scored in the 53rd minute, so let's have a little look. Okay. So it's Cherki on the right, Bernardo central. Foden does well under pressure to retain the ball. He does quite well though, doesn't he? Plays it to Reinders. At VAR, I can confirm, unfortunately, that Reinders did just almost tackle himself, I'm afraid to say. There's not really a Forest player that close to him, and unfortunately, he does miscontrol it. Like there. No, okay, and now, so have a look at this picture now. Have a look at this picture. Here we go. So Foden played it back to Reinders. Reinders unfortunately falls over. And now look at my midfield. In fact, what's quite funny is that, and this isn't like Bernardo's fault, he's not expecting Reinders to lose the ball there for no reason, but Bernardo made a forward run here. Bernardo is the furthest player forward. And he, in an ideal world, would be the player who would be back to stop that passing lane. But unfortunately, 2/3 of my midfield are now behind the ball. Sorry, they're now ahead of the ball. Reinders and Bernardo, they're the 2/3 of my midfield. Do you see what I mean? So, unfortunately, it's a consequence of like playing. Nico does get beaten a little bit too easily. I'm having a look at it now. Let's see what happens. Let me just do that, and then let's see if there's any other screen grabs for you. Nunes. So Nico is back. Okay. This might sound really harsh. This might sound quite harsh. But I think I'm going to say it. I've got zero problem with Ruben Diaz. I tell you who I do have a problem with, though, unfortunately, and it's Reinders, I'm afraid to say. I'm not saying that he's absolutely at fault for the goal. However, this is what happens here, and this is why I'm going to suggest that maybe Reinders should have done better here. Because he actually does get back, which is good. Bernardo sadly doesn't get back, and he's my midfielder, but he was the furthest up the pitch, so that's the thing. That's the thing. But Reinders does get back. So here's the screen grab right now. Now, what I would suggest, as hopefully I can get my board here, and I think I can, is what Reinders does here is he goes to close Gibbs White. Look at this on-screen editing. Reinders goes there. Now, my question is, why? What is the function of Reinders going over to Gibbs White there? Because right now, City have a good number of bodies back on their right side. Nunes is back. He's dealing with their number 7. You got Diaz and Cherki, who are in and around Gibbs White also. If Gibbs White goes to the right, then he's got Nico in his way. But there is no one here. Here is ultimately where they score. Here is where they score. So I think that he should be doing, really, Reinders. So I just erased that. I think he should be going here. Now, I get it that he was a right centre mid. Was he right centre mid? I don't know. Either way. He's drawn to the ball, though, is what I'm trying to say. Phone's the left winger, Yanan. This is a midfield responsibility. I think he should go here, essentially, because if he goes here, then he's not actually offering any function, I would contend. Whereas he does go there, and then if we carry it on, so Gibbs White plays that ball in. He slips it in. Let me get another grab. Where's my thingy? This is fantastic work here. I've got this, guys. You don't get this anywhere else. Come on. So now look at the picture. If I can just move it more to there. There we go. Again, I don't think this is harsh. What is Reinders doing here? You could say, well, he's picking up Gibbs White, but that was Nico's job. And it still is. Like, Nico is still dealing with Gibbs White there. So I would suggest that what's happening here is that two players, for no reason, are picking up Gibbs White. It's pretty clear that it should be clear to Reinders anyway that Gibbs White is covered, but there's nothing happening over here, unfortunately. So this, I'm afraid to say that this is the responsibility of the midfield, of course, and no one ends up picking up this guy, which is a shame. Because Anderson's done well to get rid of O'Reilly, so I need someone to slip into left central midfield to do that. Well, Reinders got back. It's therefore got to be his responsibility, I'm afraid. Because if you track back and you get there, then you've got to offer something. You've got to do that. Unfortunately, he's not done that. So he's done the work of getting back, which is nice. But then if you get... One could argue it's actually more of a... It's actually more of a detriment if you do get back, but then don't actually end up doing anything. There's a legal term for that. I can't remember what the legal term is. It's something like where if you're like... If you engage, but you're not legally obliged to engage, but then you make the situation worse, then you're like legally responsible for that situation. So yes, I am applying legal work into this. And I really think it should be Reinders there. I really do. I'm having a brain fart. I actually can't remember if Reinders played left central midfield off ball. I feel like he did. In which case, why isn't he just going to left central midfield? I might be wrong there. Might have been Bernardo. I'm pretty sure it was Reinders. So anyway, maybe I'm being too harsh there in Reinders, but the way I'm looking at that, I always try to look at it of what function is being provided by this player here. And this is the still. No wait, this is the still that does it for me. This one. What function it was being provided in the build up to this? So we lose it there. That's fine because what is the aim of him being drawn to the ball here? And I can't see the function. It just seems to me like that clearly Gibbs White's being picked up by a number of players. Not a problem. Whereas there's no one else on that left side, which I believe Reinders was left central midfield. Again, someone please confirm or deny that for me. But yeah, so I don't really get it. So that's a shame. So that was the goal. Column, yeah. This result has us exuding good vibes. Remember that, guys. Remember that team. So, yes. Unfortunately, that happened. That's a shame. Reinders was left central midfield. Thank you, Victor. Yeah, so I think that is more of a Reinders issue, in all honesty. I think that he is, as Tony says, I think he's drawn to the ball. I think he needs to acknowledge, oh, I've come back here. What's the best way to support the team? I need to go fill that void over there, because right now Forest are overloading us. So I saw this happen against Real Madrid, so I need to go over there now. And that didn't happen, unfortunately. So that happened. That was the goal. That was a shame. Little details that could be worked out. Of course, there's a structural rest defence, but there's only so much that we can do about that because we commit a lot of bodies forwards. It would help if you had Anderson instead of Bernardo, or Anderson instead of Reinders. Of course it would. It doesn't eliminate the problem outright. That's something to note. So yeah, so the goal happened. And yeah, and then there was like a period, I'm going to say for about 15, 20 minutes. Hello, Herbal, by the way, big up to you. I'm going to say there was a period of like 15, 20 minutes where I felt the game was going away from us. Don't know if you guys found that as well. I don't know what the momentum's saying. What's the attack momentum saying? It felt like that, and there is a little bit of red there on the attack momentum thing after their goal. It's still mainly blue. There is a little bit of a red there. It felt like the game was getting away from us at that point, which was a shame. We kept making silly errors. It was the opposite of what we should have done. We weren't able to be calm and considered. And it wasn't really until the change where I felt that we actually started to kick on a little bit. They were buying a lot of fouls. Yeah, Jesus was being naughty. Of course he was, but he was being good for his team at the end of the day. So that happened. That happened. The change happened, didn't it? Savio came on. And even before... No, it wasn't. No, I don't think the Foden... Was the Foden shot before or after that one? But either way, it certainly came from that same paradigm anyway. Let me just double check. When was it? I think it happened just before, maybe. Well, it happened in the 73rd minute, but I don't know if that was literally just as Savio came on or just before. I don't know. But either way, it came from a similar structure. Savio comes on. Cherki goes right. Savio goes right. Cherki goes left. Foden goes out and out central rather than left into centre. Now Foden and Cherki are a bit closer to each other. Now they can... Because that's the thing as well. Sometimes that can be a bit of a detriment. You don't want them both being given the same role. However, for a team like Forest, where... And Ryder said it in the interview after, and he's absolutely right, of course, where... they close the spaces and they make the free man really hard to find. What you need in those moments, preferably, is fantastic chemistry and small space plays all bouncing off one another. That's what you want. And you want players playing quick but precise balls in between those spaces. And that's what Foden and Cherki did, and that's what they ultimately do. You guys are saying that did happen. If that did happen, then that is literally the perfect example. That's literally the perfect example. Let me double check that. Because if it is, then I know what I'm talking about in the analysis video. I'm literally just talking about how that is what won the game, because it clearly gave us more of a control and foothold in the match. So it was the 73rd minute, wasn't it? So is Savio on the pitch? Savio is on the pitch when that happens, I believe. Yes, he is. Okay, excellent. Excellent. So my argument works. Perfect. Perfect. Yes. And how much better were we? He's switched go for Fenway. And how much better were we when that change happened? So I think that even though the goal didn't strictly come from that change, it did feel to me anyway that the momentum shift happened when that change happened, and then we were more able to just chill out on their box and consistently try to attack them and actually play some good football. That final 15 minutes or so, that was when I felt that we were at our best, and big up to Pep for changing it. That's not a diss at Reinders. He scored the first goal. Fantastic stuff from him. It's more a consequence of Savio comes on, he goes right. That allows players to be in better positions as an indirect consequence. So it's not because like Reinders off, City good. Not saying that at all. It's more so Savio on, that provides function for other players, So that was really good to see, and that's ultimately how we got that foothold back in the game. And we played a lot better there. I felt like we had more control as well. Again, the game got away from us a little bit after their goal, but then we came back into it and we were able to force them back and ask more questions, which was really good to see. And then obviously, I'll come to the chat in a second, by the way, guys. I just want to finish my chronology and then I'll come back to you. And then the goal happened. And I definitely need to do an actual proper analysis video on this because it keeps happening. The new corner routine, the philosophy of it, the aim, the objective of it is really good. I'm not saying that Guardiola stole from me, but I am saying that Guardiola is an avid viewer of this channel. In fact, I think it's Nick Fadley on a burner account, and I think that he watched our set piece analysis video, you know, that stream we did, where we concluded that Guardiola is like the only threat from set pieces. Because essentially, since that stream, all we have done, every single corner, basically, is we are desperate to find Guardiola every single time. Every single time. That's what we're after. Yeah, he has been exposed, hasn't he? Every single time, that's the thing. Guardiola is getting found every single time. So that means one of two things. It means that either Guardiola is going to get a, hopefully, of course, if the ball is accurate and if Guardiola attacks it well, which he normally does, either Guardiola is going to have like a good opportunity to have a shot at goal, or it means something that happened today. Everyone is concerned about Guardiola. The Forest players are anyway. You got Foden and Diaz pinning Forest back as well. O'Reilly also, because he is actually also a threat. And now what is City are doing? Oh, it sounds very obvious, but we weren't doing it that much at the start of the season. And it's happened a couple of times now. It happened against Fulham as well, when Cherki took it, and it was Foden on the edge of the box. This time, it was Foden taking it. It's a good corner into Guardiola, who wins the header, of course, does, and plays it really nicely back to Cherki. And it's Cherki on the edge of the box. And it's a fantastic finish from him through the legs of Gibbs White, I believe. And the keeper just about sees it late. Maybe he could have saved it, but sees it through the legs. It's not, I really don't think that is just, oh, City got bailed out from a shot from outside the box, or City got lucky to score from a set piece. This is clearly orchestrated. It's clearly by design. City are intentionally targeting a player, and they are intentionally creating a situation where either Guardiola gets a decent shot or a player is free on the edge of the box. So it's a really good corner by Foden. It's a really good header back by Guardiola, and it's a fantastic finish by Cherki. Once again, it's another second assist for Foden, and it's a gorgeous man of the match performance by Cherki as well. Just generally, even without that goal, I still would have given Cherki man of the match. I believe that Foden now has 6 second assists in the Premier League, which is the most of any Premier League any Premier League player, which is pretty exceptional stuff. We are just better at set pieces, which is good. And Forest are bad at set pieces, so we had to exploit that, and I'm so happy we did. And if you watched the tactical preview, you'd have known that Forest are shit from set pieces, at defending them anyway. So yeah, they are good at in-swinging crosses, which is what they did a lot of, and that was very frustrating. But again, you guys already all know that. You're all learned fellows because you watched my video. So that was the game. I will get into the individual performances and match ratings with the Fanalysis app. But before we do that, let me just catch up on the chat and let me know if there's anything specific that you would like us to talk about. Anderson today was really, really good. Fantastic from him. And I think that he basically showcased everything that I would like to see in our midfield anyway. I thought it was really good. Wharton played well. He had a good audition. Anderson, another really good audition, in my opinion. Bernardo had an impossible task of trying to occupy centre-back to create space on the wings and half space while also needing to come back into midfield. Yeah, it's nearly impossible, isn't it? Yeah, because if he's expected to run in behind, like that run he makes, he's not anticipating Reinders to lose it. Why would he? You get me? Yeah, that was another VAR, and the VAR concluded, well, my VAR concluded, but it was mainly a Reinders situation. Also, a good counter-attack by Forest. That's the thing as well to say. I feel like I've not been fair enough to Forest here. Forest did make it very hard for us. They made it very hard for us. The goalkeeper played really well. I mean, that Foden shot, that's a really good save. Milinkovic did really well to put Foden off as well from that shot. Some really good blocks from Haaland and Cherki shots. And Jesus, I know he was very frustrating, but he did play well at the end of the day. So I think you got to give, and Anderson was fantastic. You got to give Forest a lot of credit there because they did play well. Could have easily drawn this game, easily, and yet, the lawyer instinct taking over. Yes, exactly. Yeah, Risotto says exuding good vibes. Yeah, Reinders was left centre midfield. Yes, I think for me that was more of a Reinders one because he's drawn to the ball. Arsenal aren't going to draw, unfortunately. They're at home against Bournemouth. Herbal says Reinders could have done better. Yeah, Anderson's passing was gorgeous, wasn't it? Why did it seem like our players didn't know Forest tendencies or in-swingers from the wings? But even you pointed it out in your preview. I guess the problem is there's only so much you can do. Just because you know something is going to happen doesn't necessarily mean that you can stop it. Like, it's pretty hard. Like, if Hudson-Odoi has got Núñez isolated 1v1, it's nearly impossible for Núñez to prevent Hudson-Odoi from cutting in onto his right foot and crossing in. It's very tricky. It is very tricky. Do we start Reinders or Savio next game? It's Sunderland, isn't it? I'd probably go Reinders because Sunderland are going to be really, really defensive. So I think it's probably more suited for like Reinders' runs rather than Savio's 1v1s. Probably. Yeah, I'll say Reinders instead. They did want to make a stop-start game. Yes, indeed, and we had to stop that. A big up to Pep and Pep. Savio was able to hold the width as Núñez went right centre-back. Absolutely, Tony. How, yeah, that's a key. It's why it's, I think it's, well, I mean, Semenyo signing maybe changes things, but it's one of the reasons why I didn't really like the idea of Savio out, Rodrigo in, because Rodrigo wouldn't be naturally suited to that. They do have a lot, I mean, Spartacus, we saw that, didn't we? They didn't have their main fullbacks. We didn't have their main fullbacks there. So that's a thing. We not set piece FC. I mean, we sort of are, low-key. That's good, that's good. We've got both. We're set piece FC and we're open play FC. Anderson passes audition, sign him up, yes. Vert scores, boo, boo, stinky. These brothers suck. After this performance, I'm leaning towards Anderson. I totally agree, Tony. I totally agree. Wouldn't mind either of them, obviously. Fantastic players, but I think Anderson's qualities are more so what we need. Yeah, they do definitely have a lot of players at AFCON, which is big. Bob might leave. I think he probably will, yes. Winning goal came from a set piece. Absolutely, it did. Big up. Considering how incapable we have slowing the tempo of the game down state, I think Wharton is preferable. I don't know, because I think we have the players to do it. I think it's more of a mindset thing. Yeah, Sunderland are pretty shafted there, in all honesty. Yeah, lovely, weren't they? Sunderland 6 players at AFCON, and the key ones being their fullbacks. Holland FC, yeah, innit? Squares found this level. That's so naughty, Herbal. That's so naughty. I think Nikaji should have been slightly deeper to close the passing lane across the box more than Reinders not marking. That's fair, Spartacus. I just think that, like, before then, Nico's in his correct position. I think that Reinders should initially move over there. I think that the first... So maybe I could... Are you talking about, like, the second action? So, like, you know, from, like, this point here... Is that what you're saying? Because I think that for me, I think that a bit earlier than that, I think that Reinders should be not really going to the ball, but there. I think I can see your point, though, if you're talking about the second bit, I think. That's a thing. don't care you're reacting to that comment. Okay. I don't know what that means. Vertical was a gift from Wolves. Doesn't count. Doesn't count. He has yet to score a goal against 11 men in the league or a team that is not shit. Is not shit. Yeah? So that's the thing. Yeah, I don't know what comments this is referring to. I can't see it in my chat. Well, I don't know what it is. Getting first GA to 10 men Spurs and Wolves. Yeah, exactly. Doesn't count. We need to make sure we pass the ball better. Definitely agree. I don't think Ryan's can get to the run in time. It was much further away for Ryan's to go to that guy. But yeah, it was more... Oh, yeah. I don't disagree with that, in fairness. Wolves are basically a championship side, so he's yet to score. Yeah, exactly. Doesn't count, yeah? If they're getting relegated, those goals don't count. For sure. Right, shall we do some player ratings now, ladies and gentlemen? Shall we do some cheeky player ratings? Unless there's, like, any other specific questions. Like, if you've got a question about an individual player, we can, of course, cover them like that. Semenyo would have cooked that game. Geez, we've got to wait till Sunderland, allegedly. He said he likes you, but you have a lot of female tendencies. I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. That's fine, there's nothing wrong with women. I quite like women, in all honesty. If you don't like women, that's your prerogative. I will support you in your sexual endeavours, obviously. Like, if you prefer men, that's not a problem, obviously. Big up to the community. It's not a problem for me, though. I'm worried we're not providing more for Haaland, says Eugene. I actually saw an amazing stat yesterday. We do accept everyone. Yes, absolutely. A mad stats yesterday. Because I on the surface level, I don't agree that we don't give enough service to Haaland. But that's just on the surface level. I've got no data to back that up, really. However, Erling Haaland is in the 100th percentile for big chances received. He's also in the 100th percentile for passes received into the penalty box. He's also in the 100th percentile for key passes received. He's also in the top 100 percentile for assists received. So the data is would not support that conclusion. I think that we are creating more than enough for him. Maybe not today, but perhaps this season. What's your comment, says Starshine? I might be wrong. Maybe I'm misreading it. The suggestion was that ladies aren't good. Maybe I'm being like too over analytical there. I felt like the comment was a bit sexist against women. And we love women. Big up to women. Happy International Women's Day, by the way. So, you know what I mean? Big up to the ladies. They did do well today. Absolutely, Herbal. Definitely. Guess who the top two big chance creators in the Prem? Is it Doku and Cherki? Question mark. Maybe I misinterpreted NG, but that was the vibe I was getting. If I'm wrong, then wrong. But it looks like there was a suggestion that, because you said something like, I like you, but sometimes you're a bit of a lady, therefore suggesting that it's not good to be a lady. That was how I interpreted it anyway. Maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Right. Let's do some player ratings, shall we? Let's do some player ratings. On the Finalysis app, make sure you get it downloaded, guys. It's either available for download now or it will be in the new year. I can't remember exactly, but either way, sign up for it and all that good stuff. Yeah, Cherki is going to be man of the match. I can confirm, guys, Cherki is going to be man of the match. I can confirm that. So let's finalize the match, shall we? Oh, they've updated. Oh, Donnarumma's actually got a face now. They've updated it. It's nice. They've updated the colours as well, which looks very pretty. Excellent work. Yeah. Okay, guys. So you know the drill. We're going to do 0 to 10. If you prefer to do, like 7.3 or whatever, then that's fine. I'll just read it as 73 because on the Finalysis app it's between 0 and 100. So that's the thing. You get me. So let's start with Donnarumma, shall we? Yes, City Extra are indeed. They are one of the people involved in it. They are one of the starting 11 members. Yes, they are one of the starting 11 members, as am I. Donnarumma, guys. Remember? Let me just reiterate what are the rankings. So, again, if you say 55, that's 5.5, whatever you want to say. 50 is average. And there's not going to be anyone like below 50, I don't think, so I'll just do that. 50 is average. 60 is above average. 70 is good. 80 is great. 90 is brilliant. 10 is perfect. So that is the situation. So Donnarumma, first of all, he did make a save. Yes, there was that Nico Williams shot. It's a save you're expecting to make, but yes, he did still make the save. The only thing that upset me a bit, and I don't know if I'm being too harsh here, but he did parry it out straight to a Forest player, who was he called? Savona, and then he hit it over. I'm not saying that he had to do better there because it was a pretty, it's not like there were a million areas for him to parry it to, but I'm not going to consider that. I'm not going to consider that an error, but I'm also not going to consider it like an especially good save either. In all honesty, I thought it was like fine. So yeah, fine from a shot stopping perspective. I think Herb was just said then. I forgot about the corner. In fairness, but you are right. Yeah, that wasn't ideal, and again, it didn't lead to anything. It was just my heart did a little. It skipped a beat. It did a little flutter when it was like the 92nd minute. And I think Musty said it in the chat. That gave me like Arsenal flashbacks. Like where I don't know why he's positioned there. Thankfully, it didn't matter. But I was like, oh my god, what are you doing? So it's a tricky one to rank because it's not like he had a bad game. He didn't have a good game though either. So it's going to be something either beginning with a 5 or a 6. I'm thinking a high 5 because that's on the border of average to like above average. So and I don't think it's so tricky to judge goalkeepers because if they don't have anything to do, then you're like, well, what do you even do? It was like average, which is a 50. But I am going to give it I'm going to give some credit for the save, even though I didn't like the parry. But I didn't like some of the corner work, so I'm gonna say 59. I'm gonna say it's like on the border for that. Okay, and I don't really know how you want me to respond to that, NG. I'll be quite honest. Okay, Ruben Diaz now. Oh yeah, no, I tell you what. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna give him 60 for celebrating that goal because I love that. So I'm gonna give him 60. Because I did love the passion, in fairness. Yes, guys, I'm given a passion point. Sue me. I've given 1 mark for passion, okay? Sue me, yeah? Ruben Diaz. Ooh. Low-key, I think that he should have been sent off. Am I in the minority there? Let me know. I felt that interaction with Jesus early in the second half, I said at the time, that's a yellow card. But I said it really blasé because I forgot that he was on a yellow card. And Jesus was literally asking for one. I was like, oh, that's naughty. But I think we've gotten away. It's one of those where it's contentious. And I don't agree with this. I reckon if Diaz wasn't on a yellow, I reckon the referee gives him a yellow. But it's one of those where where referees don't like to send players off. They don't like to give second yellows for that. Even though I don't agree with that, by the way. I think a yellow is a yellow is a yellow, regardless of context. I think that's probably what's happened there, though. That's probably what has happened. Yeah, exactly. I think it's probably a second yellow. Whether the first one's a yellow, that's another conversation to be had. But I think it probably is one. So I do have to rank him a bit lower because of that. He kept giving the ball away, which did upset me. Those little dinks he was trying to do in that first half. He kept rushing it. Didn't really like that. And I think that he's been really good recently. Like, I think he's been rediscovering his first 2 or 3 seasons form. But this was a blip. This was a blip. What I always like to do, because we're on we are on Aerial Duels 1 watch this season with Diaz, and that's the thing I've been so impressed with this year. I felt like he struggled today. I'm unsure as to what it was, though. Let's find out. Ruben Diaz completed the most passes in the match. If anyone's interested in that. 3 out of 3. Huh. I thought he struggled a bit more. Well, my brain is totally stupid. Interesting. He had 3 aerial duels and he won all of them. Again, love that. Love that from him. We are on Aerial Duel Watch. However, even though I actually don't think he played badly, like, overall, I think I have to rank him lower than Donnarumma. I think so. So I'm going to give him... I'm not going to say it was, like, a bad game or anything, because there were some good moments. But I'm going to give him, like, 58. No, 57. I'm going to give him 57. I was going to say 58. He's been docked a couple points there for what should have been a second yellow card. So I'm doing a cheeky little 57. How many fouls did he make? 2. Not too many. Lots of clearances, lots of headed clearances. So he got engaged in a lot of defensive actions. The long balls were really bad, though. Yeah, it wasn't that awful. Some annoying, frustrating moments. So some frustrating moments. Cherki French or no? Yes, he is French and he is of Algerian origin. Yeah, probably must be. Yeah. So it is going to be. I think that's the lowest ranking he's had all season that I've given him anyway. Gvardiol, crucial for the goal. Got the assist. It's a really nice cushioned ball back. And he had to have a good second half, because the first half he kept giving the ball away and it was really annoying me. I couldn't get invested into his performance because of that. I was like, what are you doing, Yoshko? I need you to be that guy. And he wasn't, but he got the crucial cushioned back assist for the goal, which ultimately won the game. So he's getting some big brownie points for that, obviously. Obviously he is. Yeah, he did. Yeah, I wasn't actually frustrated with his defending. It was more so his passing work, because I that's how I normally judge these players. I say, Gvardiol, you're more of like a passing player rather than an outright defender. Diaz the opposite, but yeah, today it was the opposite, perhaps, for Gvardiol. Although he did get the assist for the goal, so that is a thing. Yeah, he was in the right place at the right time for it. He was good. He read Foden's corner well. What do you reckon then, guys? What we're saying, 65, 6.4, 67. Make sure you're getting your play ratings in the chat, guys. 10 more than Diaz for the assist, says Eugene. I think Gvardiol was the best defender today, so 65. Yeah, I'm going to give him... I'm going to give him 68. I think 68. I think a mid or high 6 is good. I've not said he's had a good game overall, just because I expect a little bit more from him, but he's on the cusp there. He's on the cusp, I would suggest. He's on the cusp. Do you think Pep needs to tell Reinders to drop deep and not play as a second striker? He's been struggling a little bit when he's played a bit deeper, though. I guess that's the problem. That is the problem. Let's rank Verts too. Chill. I'm sure you would, Spartacus, you cheeky boy. Nunes. Nunes. We know what he's able to do with his offensive function. He provides a lot of it. He was in the first half overlapping to allow Cherki access to the centre. In the second half, he gave us a bit more security by playing right centre-back in the back three. That was good to see. There wasn't too much offensive work from him today, I feel like. But I think he did his job defensively because he had a hard time up against Hudson-Odoi, who's been a very good player for Sean Dyche's Forest. He's arguably, or probably Gibbs White actually, he's probably been their second best player, has Hudson-Odoi under Dyche. So he didn't have an easy time at all. Wasn't really able to prevent all the crosses, but that was a thing. He was decent. Yeah, he was. I thought he was actually. I might be saying he was good. Did he make any defensive, outright defensive errors? Not that I can really think of. I think I might be giving. I think I'm going to say Nunes had a good game, a solid game, in my opinion. Unfortunately, we didn't have anything offensive, but Spartacus. But I think that's reasonable. In all honesty, I think something beginning with a 7 or maybe a high 6. But I think it's fair to say he had a good game. I think it was better than Gavardio overall, even though Gavardio got the assist. Oh wait, Nunes did that stupid misplaced pass in the middle of the pitch for no reason. He did. You're not wrong. I was going to give him maybe a 71, 72 as a treat, but I tell you what, that docks it back down to a 70. So let's do that. O'Reilly, it's clear that he is missing Doku. Definitely. Those two have, he's even noted it before, hasn't he? That he has such a fantastic relationship with him. That's obviously not there anymore. And we touched on it at the start of the show that Foden has to be sacrificed, and unfortunately that also has to sacrifice the relationship. So it means that O'Reilly's less effective going forwards. He did give away a yellow card, and it was in a dangerous area as well, which wasn't ideal. It wasn't ideal at all. He needs rest, says Eugene. So he wasn't able to be as offensively minded as usual. It's probably the worst game he's had all season. Question mark? Remember the rule for O'Reilly. Points are docked until he gets a better haircut. Is that fair to say? Is that O'Reilly's worst game this season? I'm not going to say he was played badly, by the way. But I don't think that he... Because, I mean, the standard's been so high from him this year. That's the thing to note as well. I felt like he struggled. I felt like he struggled overall today. There wasn't that much link up with Foden as much as I would have liked to have seen. But what do you guys suppose? Eugene agrees. Reddy says yes. You'd say so. Yeah, so it is a tricky one. And I think based on that, it's probably going to start with a 5. I think I'm going to give him... I'm not going to go as low as Diaz, just because Diaz, I felt like, should have been sent off. So that's really working against him. So maybe I'll just do them both. No, I'm thinking maybe... I was thinking 58. You guys are thinking even lower, though. 55 or 52. But he didn't do anything detrimental, though. That's what's in his favour. That's what's in his favour here. Herbal's going to give him a 55. Okay. I'll match you guys' energy. I'll go slightly lower. NG says a 54, 60, 58, 59. I'll go as low as 57. I'll tell you what. I'll go as low as 57. I think that's reasonable. Okay, Nico, the last defensive player. And then we can get into the attackers and have a much better time, because this was obviously a game all about how good the attack was. I personally didn't think he could have done much more for their goal. And Spartacus has presented another POV, which I respect, which I rate. But I thought it was solid. I thought it was fine. he broke up play well, didn't he? He had a tricky time dealing with Anderson, but Anderson is Anderson. We know that he gets left on his own because Bernardo and Reinders were so high up, his midfield partners, so he's got to try to lock down the midfield all on his own. It is a challenge for him. Anything to glean from his data? Passing. Ooh. You guys know that I'm not the biggest fan of using passing accuracy, but for a defensive midfielder, 86% is pretty poor, and there were some wayward passes. In fairness, 15 defensive contributions, 10 recoveries. Oh my god. We are going to destroy this poor man. We are going to play him into the ground. Oh my. That's insane. 10 recoveries. God. Interesting. Yeah. I want to give him 70. I want to say he had like a good game. No, I don't. No, I don't. Passing. I keep forgetting that. I get distracted so easily. I'm knocking him down to 67 because of the passing, actually. I've changed my mind. I've changed my mind immediately. I'm so liable to peer pressure, aren't I? Yeah, the passing is too much. The passing is too much to have for me to say that my defensive midfielder had a good game. I needed more accurate passing from him, I'm afraid. It's still a high 6. It's still a high 6. I am a sheep, absolutely. I am absolutely a sheep, I apologise. But I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do it. 67 is what I'm going for there. Reinders now. Odd game. Odd game. Oh, that's a great point, Yazan. I tell you what, I'm going to give Nico an extra point for avoiding the yellow card, because you're right. You're right. If he got booked, he'd have missed the game. That's big. He had 5 going to sofa score. Damn. Footmob are inflating him. Footmob are being paid by Nico Gonzalez. Do they get their data from the same provider, though? Isn't it both Opta? How weird. How weird that it's different. Yeah, Reinders, weird game. Because he scored the goal. Lovely, of course. Very important goal. I've been quite critical of him, and you guys know I'm a big fan of Reinders. I was quite critical of him for their goal. Not saying it was all his fault, but I think that he was in parts to blame. And this is the case for everyone, in fairness. Could have been better with his passes and touches in that first half. I just think of that one. It was a really good chance where Foden slips in Reinders and he's not able to get onto it. And not saying it's directly his fault. Unfortunately, he does give away the ball, which leads to them scoring the goal, which isn't a good look. But he did score the goal at the end of the day. At the end of the day, he did score the goal. So I think this is gonna start with a 7, in my opinion. But I think it's going to be a very low 7. Like, I'm not really willing to go higher than 71. My instinct was 70. And that goal is doing a lot of the heavy lifting there. And that's quite a low ranking for a player to score a goal as well. So I think that's being reflected. In fairness, I think that's being reflected. Because I actually think that maybe if you want to take the goal out for a second, it's probably more like something beginning with a 6, maybe even a high 5. So the goal was doing a decent amount of the heavy lifting there, but I think in this game, it's relatively relevant. Wolf scored. Jesus, man. How shit must you be? Yeah, Herbal says, can't go too high because I think he had a poor game overall, but 70 for the goal. The goal's a hard finish and run. Yeah, the finish isn't the easiest by any means, is it? He does get brownie points for that, and the run is nice. He does get brownie points, definitely. So there we go. There we go. Bernardo, the last member of the midfield. It seems to always be the case with Bernardo. Relatively quiet game, but he's someone who keeps things ticking along. You can argue he got caught out position-wise for their goal, but he's not expecting Reinders to give the ball away like that. It's always hard to rank Bernardo. It's always hard, because a lot of what he does isn't really... I'm guilty of it as well. It's not really sexy, so you don't really talk about it. Bernardo could get the same rating every game, which is, I guess, good, because you do want steady eddies in your size, don't you? You do want that in your side. So I'm thinking lower than Nico, though. I put Nico at 68. I'm thinking maybe 65. Because he didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, exactly. He does the dirty work, yeah. He was also guilty of giving the ball away a little bit, though. So I'm thinking a middle or high 60. 67, says Tony. You know what? I'll agree. I'll go 67. Because I gave Nico 68. So I'm happy with that. I think that's fine. So I've said he has had a worse game than Gvardiol, worse game than Nunes, but better than O'Reilly, but worse than Nico. I think that's fair. That's fair, isn't it? Another own goal for Arsenal. These guys, man, these little frauds. Arsenal now have more opponent own goals than we do. They kept badgering us about Steve, yeah. Steve. Yeah. How many own goal goals do they have? How many own goals do they actually have this season? Who's the second highest goal scorer? Can we start that narrative? Can we run that agenda up? It's at least 3, right? It's at least 3. Okay, guys, next up is... Now, we'll save him. He's the man of the match, so we'll save him. We're now coming to the attacking players, so these are probably going to be the highest rankings, I would suggest. It's at least 3, isn't it? Because it was 2 against Wolves, and now 1 today. So it's at least 3, might even be 4. In my opinion, these 3 lads should probably be getting the highest rankings. So all of these are going to start with at least a 7, but there's going to be 1 which... who knows what number that's going to start with. Let's start with Foden, shall we? We've spoken about how he's not being played in the correct position, but he sort of has to be done. It has to be done, which is a shame. First 15 minutes, I was properly annoyed with his game, in all honesty. I thought it was shit. First 10, 15 minutes. It was really pissing me off. Really pissing me off. Like, I was getting angry, in all honesty. I was getting quite angry. However, after the 15th minute... Good. And this wasn't just him, by the way. This was a lot of other players as well. Much better. Much better. He did... Yes. Yes. Male? Yes, definitely. The second half was much better. And a lot of that stemmed from actually being moved to a more optimal position for him. So I guess it makes sense that he played not as well in a position that wasn't his compared to a position that is his. I've just dropped a piece of Lego. God damn it. So added time phone adds a few extra points. Yes, that's a very good point as well, which I totally forgot about that. We retained the ball for about, I want to say like a whole 2 minutes from around like the 89th minute through to the 91st. And there was this one gorgeous moment where Foden picks it up on the left and he dribbles like into the box, and he could like play like a low probability cross and probably end up losing the ball. But instead, he goes to the corner flag and he retains, and we go backwards and we go sideways, and we just tire Forest out a little bit, and we have a bit of control and composure in the game. Excuse me. So that was good to see as well, and there was a good save from him. He did the corner, which ultimately led to the goal. So this is going to start with a 7, and I think a middle 7. What the hell, Spartacus? I'm going to go 75 personally. I think that's more than another pre-assist, absolutely. 6 now, I think, in the Premier League. I think 75 is reasonable for Foden. I think that is reasonable. I think that is good. Because that means that he had a good game, but he didn't have a great game. And I think that's fine. I think that's fine. Someone said it in the chat. Yes, he did. Yeah, it was a very good save. And very good work by Milenkovic as well, in fairness. Again, fantastic ball by Cherki. Oh, speaking of Cherki and Foden, in that first half when Foden slips in Cherki and then Cherki either should shoot or pass it to Haaland, sorry, that fake shot was gorgeous. So I think 75 is fair. I think I'm maybe even underselling him there, but I'm going to go 75. I'm going to save the man of the match for last. Haaland now. Always really hard to judge Haaland in these games because he didn't see much of the ball. So I guess you've got to judge him on if he had chances, how did he do with those chances? He didn't really have any chances today. Not really. There was that one where it was like, he hit it on like the half volley and that was never going in. So we can't really judge him on the chances that he had or did not really have today. The other one, Cherki slipped him in and it was a good block. So that happened. There was a nice little flick that he did. Yeah, there was a very good defending moment. Absolutely, yes. The defending was really nice. My favourite was where he ran to go and clear it, but then he dummies it and it goes harmlessly out for a goal kick. I loved that moment, so fair play to him, of course. I think someone argued, and I would agree, that because of like their centre-backs being occupied with Haaland, well, that means that Foden and Cherki have a bit more time on the ball. So that cannot be understated as well. Absolutely, that's a thing. He only had 3 defensive contributions, 2 recoveries, and a headed clearance. I thought he had more than that, in fairness. He had a rebound opportunity from that Foden shot, but he missed the ball. I don't even remember that. God, I need to rewatch. This is why I always like to rewatch the games before I do my analysis videos. Goodness me. So I think it might be a high 6 based on that. What do you guys reckon? On the cusp of having like a good game, but it's so hard to judge. Yeah, Haaland's fine. 68 is Musty. 67 for Eugene. 67 for John. 68 for Alex. I'm gonna... Yeah, I don't know if I felt that Haaland had a better game than Nico. So I don't feel valid judging him at 69, sorry. I feel like it was more of like a Bernardo game. I think I'm going to go 67 for him, which puts him level with Bernardo in my rankings anyway. And I think there or thereabouts. Again, it's so hard to judge because it wasn't really the game for him. You guys, last one. Who do you guys think it is? The man of the match, obviously. Another really good performance from him, Cherki. He got the assist for the Reinders goal. He got the winning goal. He was also guilty in the first half of giving away some balls, but we all got more into the game, didn't we? He was really good at, even when he lost the ball, he won it back immediately. I liked that a lot. I did like that a lot. I'm personally gonna have this start with an 8. And let me tell you why. It's going to be a high 8, but let me tell you why. Because a 9, well, 10 is perfect, obviously, but a 9 means that you were, like, brilliant. And preferably, I need you to be brilliant, like, all game also. The first 15 minutes were not brilliant, unfortunately, from any of our players. And that sounds harsh, but hey, if we get into these really high rankings, then we've got to be looking under the microscope. You guys don't have to agree. If you guys want to go for 90s, that's fine, of course. I could be tempted to do something with a 9, but it would be 90, I think. It would be like the lowest 90 that it can be. I'm a bit more comfortable with a high 8, I think. I'm just thinking about all the other performances I've compared this against, and I think that I'm more comfortable with a high 8. It's going to be a high 8. It's at least 87. It's at least 87. Let me gather some data, because his expected assist total is stupid. And 9 was Doku against Liverpool. I think that's right, Olive. Yes, I think that's correct. That's when you get a 9 when it's like, oh my god, like you are like unplayable. And of course, Cherki was at times unplayable, definitely, and he's won us this game. But there were still moments of like rust and lack of sharpness there, I felt. Yeah, expected assist 0.81 is insane. That is insane. Just to like put that in perspective. If you can get an expected assist total of like close to 0.2, let's say, that's high. That is quite high for a player to achieve. Like around 0.2 is good. 0.8 is dumb. Like really dumb. And it's the fact that he does it all the time. It's stupid. It's stupid. He's just wonderful, isn't he? Yeah, Musty was saying 6 defensive contributions, which is good. 3 recoveries, nice. 2 tackles, which is impressive, actually, because normally, like, I expect my wingers to do some recovering, but the 2 tackles is very impressive to win the ball back for us. So fair play there, of course. Yeah. The reason why I'm not going to give him a 9 is because I'm thinking about the little details. Like there was a time where he could have slipped in Haaland and the pass just wasn't, I think he hit like a Forest player. Or the other one where he could have slipped in Haaland and he was second guessing himself. Should he shoot or should he not? And then he gives it away. That's why I'm not going to give it a 9. But I am going to give it an 88. I think that's good. Going to give him a cheeky little 88 because the defensive contributions are bumping it up a little bit, as is the more control. How many 90s have there been? From me, not that many. I've given Haaland a couple. I've given Doku at least 1. And I think I've given Foden at least 1. But there we go. What rating did I give Foden? 75. I gave Foden a cheeky 75. I'm giving Cherki an 88. There we go. Lovely, lovely. And Pep. You can read my mind. And then Pep, there's no doubt he fixed it. He fixed it. Or he made it better anyway. We needed Foden and Cherki centrally connecting with one another. Yeah, it must have been. And he changed it. So I don't think it's his fault that his players were making silly passes. So I think he set up City perfectly well. I'm going to give him 77. There we go. 77. And I don't tend to rate the subs, so I'm just going to do that. Let's submit that. Beautiful. I'm happy with those ratings. Yes. Pep loved Pep 2 today. Yeah, that was a lovely little hug, wasn't there? Lovely little hug from that boy. Is there a way that you can... I can see what my past Finalysis rankings are. Oh, there are. Okay, this is great. So we can go back and have a look and to see who's gotten the 9s across the season. I haven't done every single game because there were some games that we missed, but so I gave Guardiola a 90 for the Wolves game. So that was interesting. No one against Spurs. In fact, I'll do the highest per thing. So I gave Guardiola 90 against Wolves. I gave Bob 65 against Spurs. Trafford 80 against Brighton. Haaland 90 against Man United. Okay. Foden 87 against Napoli. Doku 80 against Arsenal. Foden 75 against Huddersfield. Haaland 82 against Monaco. Ruben Diaz 85 against Brentford. Thank you so much, Hoshim. Big up to you, mate. I'll come to that in a second. Thank you so much, mate. Foden 82 against Everton. Foden 73 against Villa. Guardiola 95 against Bournemouth and Haaland 90 as well. Jesus, man, 95. Foden 85 against Dortmund. Doku 93 against Liverpool. I think is that the highest ranking like given to a player? I think it is. Which is fair because I think that's been the best performance of the season. I'm pretty happy with these rankings, in hindsight. I gave Pep 92 against Liverpool as well. I gave Nico 90 against Liverpool. Goodness me, I was generous there. Foden got a 90 against Leeds. There you go. Foden got an 89 against Fulham. Cherki got a 91. Oh, Cherki got a 91 against Sunderland. Nunes an 83 against Palace. Cherki an 88 today. So, that is what. So how many 9s have I given to players this season? Cherki against Sunderland, Foden against Leeds, Doku against Liverpool, Haaland against Bournemouth, and Haaland against United. And that's it. So I've given out 5 9s this season, and 2 of them have gone to Erling, which makes sense. 1 Foden, 1 Cherki, 1 Doku. I'm really happy with that, actually. That makes sense because I think Haaland's been our best player, so he deserves the highest rankings. And then the other 3 have been our 2nd, 3rd, 4th best players. So that makes sense. Cool. Lovely. I'm really happy with my rankings, therefore. Good. That's good. I can always look back and see. So Bob, I felt was the best player against Spurs. Thank you so much, Hoshim. Went in holes. Good to be back. Personally, I'm still on the fence with Tajani. He's so confused and needs better decision-making. Yes, indeed. It's still Cherki over here. It's always Cherki, not Cherki. Cherki. So there we go. It's the thing. I think so, John. I think he's got a higher ceiling, personally. And I always say this, it's impossible to properly judge ceiling, but I just think he's got a higher ceiling. Something tells me that what I'm looking at now, look, it's only been a few games, but in a world where Cherki can replicate what we've seen this season across an entire season, in my opinion, that is better than any season Palmer has ever had. And I don't know if that's a controversial thing to say, but it's definitely something I believe in. I get it that Palmer had the numbers in his first year. Penalties are a thing, and he was very good that year. But I think this is a different standard. I think. But we have to see it on a consistent basis. That is the difference between being a great player and being an elite player. Okay, great, but can you do it across the whole season, week in, week out? So far, Cherki's doing it. So long may it continue. Long may that continue, absolutely. Oh, Brighton have scored against Arsenal, by the way. It is 2-1 now. I don't know if anyone said that. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Brighton goal. There you go. It is 2-1. Who knows? Maybe Brighton have got something for us. Who knows? Not me. That is who. Not me. That is who. But there we go. Stop jinxing it. Okay. Really good stream, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Do we have any final thoughts? LB's not live, so I can't redirect to him. Does anyone have any final thoughts or comments before we shoot off? I'm just going to pop the Hall of Fame just across the screen because I love you guys. Own goal bailed them out. You see, they're just frauds. They're just own goal FC. It's difficult to perform off the bench at the beginning of the season. Cherki had some insane productivity. Definitely agree. In what areas can Cherki improve? Pep says sometimes he wants to shout at him, sometimes he wants to kiss him. Yeah, what areas can improve? Well, he's definitely getting better out of possession. There's no doubt about that. The decision-making has also gotten a lot better. There's no doubt about that. That, I think, just comes with time. I would like him to take more shots, and it sounds silly because he scored a goal today, but I think that he needs to back himself more with the shooting as well. Because he's got a very good shot on him. You know what I mean? He's got a very good shot on him as well. So that's potentially an area to improve, but that just comes with volume, and that will come. And we're literally seeing it now. He scored a couple of goals. Yeah, there's not much he needs to. Just needs to keep doing what he's doing consistently, and we'll have a great time. Had by all. Anderson was scary. He manhandled our midfield. Yeah, it'd be lovely if we could get him in. I don't think we can start Rodri against Sunderland. We've got to ease him in. Gabriel coming on. Boo. Yeah, Arsenal won't concede 2 goals, I'm pretty sure. Nico's passing has been a little off for the past 3 games. Stamina, yeah, that's definitely a thing that can improve. Where does Marmich play now? It's tricky, isn't it? It's tricky, especially with San Semenyo. I think it's going to be a tricky one for him. I don't know the answer. In all honesty, I do not know the answer. I've got a great question. Why is your channel name that? Because that's my nickname, Marif. That's my nickname. And it's what you guys all call me, yeah? It's what you call me. Call me by your name. My name is Nobbins. Those are the words of the song. My nickname is Nobbins, yeah. You can call me Nob if you want. That's not a problem. Cool. Right then, unless we have anything final to say, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining me today. Hope you all had a beautiful Christmas. Streams, content for this week / next week. I actually don't know because we are in the Twilight Zone. We don't have another game this year. That's great. So we are ending 2025 on a beautiful note there. On a beautiful note. The 1st of January, we will be there. Oh, we will be there. It's an evening game, so we'll be there for that. There's not going to be a stream tomorrow, and I don't know if LB... I think LB said he wanted to chill out on Monday, so I think he said we might miss it on the 29th. So there might be an LBins on Monday, but if not, then there won't. but there will be a touchline talk on the 30th, on the Tuesday. And then it's what's it? New Year's Eve. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, there will be no streams on New Year's Eve. So there won't be a Twitch stream. So the next bit of content, well, no, actually, no, well, tomorrow I'll upload the post-match analysis. I'll rewatch the game, post-match analysis out tomorrow, and then the touchline talk on Tuesday. Oh yeah, Sunderland preview. Yeah, there'll be a Sunderland preview. I'll upload a video on the 31st. There won't be a stream though. Yeah, I'll upload a Sunderland preview on the 31st, and then that, yes. All that good stuff. So still lots of content for you guys to be enjoying over this period. So make sure to stay tuned on the channel for all of that beautiful stuff. Guys, if you would like to support the channel directly, why don't you consider becoming a member of the channel? You can do so by clicking that little link. Big up to everyone who's helped support me this year. It's not the last year in 2025, though, so I'm not going to get too soppy. We'll talk about that then. If you rather support the Patreon, that is there as well. Yeah, I'll do a live stream of our New Year's celebrations. How about that? That's the thing. I didn't even see that, Jack. That's very odd. I think that I'm seeing a more censored version of the chat because I'm not seeing all these comments that you're talking about. So that's a thing. Yeah. That's all good. I'm going to debate whether to continue the Ask Nobbins series in the new year. I think people enjoy it, but it's obviously not as popular as the tactical previews and match analysis. So I'll have a think. I don't know whether I'll continue it or not. I feel like I want to continue it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I won't have time to record one next week anyway because of all the preview stuff. And at some point, I need to work on the Semenyo analysis video, or at least do some research for it, just in case we do sign him. It looks like we are going to sign him, so that's a good thing, isn't it? Big up. I'm going to leave. Have a lovely evening, guys. Take care of yourself. Catch my video tomorrow. Bye, guys.